Welcome back, everyone. So yesterday, I talked about the pre-sentencing report that the federal government had sent into the judge on the restrictions, the level of security, the mental health evaluation, and the physical health evaluation for Josh Duggar for right now and for the future. And it is a recommendation of the length of sentence and where he should be placed. Now, I did miss one tiny detail in that yesterday, and I do apologize for that. The federal government is asking that Josh B. Duggar, on top of his sentence of 2 decades, they want him to be registered as a level 3 sex offender. In case you're not familiar with the registered sex offender status, it works on a scale of 1 to 4. 4 being the more likely and also being the most violent of all of them. A level 4 is generally a violent sexual predator against either women, children, or it can be men in some cases. But most of the time, 90% of the time, it is men who commit these actual violent offenses. But they want Josh Duggar to be listed as a level 3 sex offender for the rest of his pathetic life. On top of that, about 2 hours after I actually did that video and it was released, the defense submitted their own requirements and recommendations for how long they would like to see Josh Duggar do in prison. And of course, they're going for the absolute minimum. But they also submitted several letters of recommendation, character letters of recommendations, and character, letters about how well and great of a person Josh Duggar is. 2 of those such letters came from the following: Anna and Michelle. But what's interesting is not just their lengthy letters that they submitted about the character of Josh and how great of an individual he is who didn't submit a letter. There's no letter from Jim Bob. There's no letters from any of his brothers. And there's absolutely no letters from any of his previous victims, the babysitter, the family friend, or any letters from his sisters, asking for forgiveness and leniency on Josh. Anna's letter is 2 pages in length. And I'll get into here in a minute what her letter is all about. Michelle, her letter is one page. It is exactly 5 paragraphs. What do the 2 of them want? Anna, age 33, begs the judge, and she outright begs the judge for any leniency in sentencing on Josh, that he may be able to return home to financially and emotionally support her and her 7 children at the earliest convenience. This is typical, but she went on to actually compare Josh Duggar to the great man himself, Ronald Reagan, the former president of the United States. Anna compared him to Ronald Reagan and then used an actual quote by Ronald Reagan that he used while in office to compare Josh Duggar to him. And it's the most despicable thing that you can do to someone that great. And regardless of where you are on the political scale, you have to admit that Ronald Reagan in politics was a great man. He was a great, head of the Screen Actors Guild. He did everything he could, and sure, he made some mistakes along the way. But him and Nancy actually gave the office meaning, and they gave the office integrity. To compare someone like Josh Duggar to Ronald Reagan is despicable. She went on to say that he is a loving supportive, and caring father who has always been engaged with his children. And she relies upon him for financial, emotional support. Of course she does. She's never had a job in her life. She's going to have to find one really quickly, though, because he's got less than 10 days before he's going to go away to prison for an awfully long time. Michelle, dear mommy Michelle, her letter wasn't as long as his wife's, but she did ask for compassionate care, and compassion, and for the judge to look inside of his heart when sentencing Josh to federal penitentiary for his crimes. She said he's always an upbeat person, organized, and a diligent individual. I take great distress when it comes to both of the letters that they wrote, saying that he's compassionate. And I look at it and I think to myself, when was he compassionate to his sisters? When was he compassionate towards the babysitter? When was he compassionate to the little girl who was there for a sleepover that his sister invited that he molested as well? When was he compassionate in any form of Christian belief when he downloaded that pornography, hardcore snuff pornography, about a little girl being tortured and was getting ready to be executed by an extremely violent pedophile? Where is his compassion? I don't see it. And hopefully, I thank to God and I pray to God that the judge is not persuaded by these letters. The only other letters of recommendation or character letters that were submitted along with the paperwork was one that hasn't been disclosed. The actual name on the letter has been redacted. We do believe he is someone that is connected to the political party because each and every one of the letters addressed directly to Timothy L. Brooks, United States District Court, Western District of Arkansas. Michelle's and Anna's are all the same way. And this was just a letter basically to anybody, but it was attached in the actual file. The motion that they asked for leniency. What do his attorneys want in recommendation for Josh if he is to be sentenced? Well, he's going to be sentenced. We know that. He's already been found guilty. But they want no more than 6 years in prison is what they want. They are asking for, instead of a maximum of $250,000 fine, a grand total of $125,000 fine. He's facing $250,000 on each charge. But again, 2 felonies that he has been convicted of. Plus, he has the actual enhancement. The enhancement that they were never able to actually prosecute him on, that he admitted to, which is the molestation of his sisters and the friend and the babysitter. That is an enhancement on the actual sentencing guideline. But they want him to serve no more than 6 years. Let's all pray that they throw the book at him and give him every single minute of that total of 40 years. Unfortunately, we do not have the death penalty in the United States for violent sex offenders or for sex offenders and pedophiles like Josh Duggar. Maybe it's time that we change the law and we get it right for once for the victims of crimes. Now, looking at the actual sentencing that Judge Timothy L. Brooks, in the last 5 cases that he has had where people have been charged with the same crimes as Josh's without the enhancement, he has sentenced each and every one of those people between 10 years and 15 years on each charge for 20 or 30 years without the enhancement of the previous, molestation of his sisters and the babysitter. Those cases did not have enhancements, but Josh Duggar's does have an enhancement. So now we wait and see until the 25th. How many years? Put a comment down below on this video. I would really love to hear your feedback on this. Do you think that 20 years is enough for Josh Duggar? Or do you think that he should get the maximum for his crimes? Thank you again for joining me today. And you have a wonderful rest of your week. Hey, you've made it to the end of another video. You can go ahead and watch more content here and subscribe here. Thank you.